Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Chris.
Dan, Lee.
No, Dan.
No, he's only been gone a week. He's not even been gone a week, but we don't know where he's gone and we don't know what he's doing.
No, we
A
don't.
secret mission.
All I know is that I've been stroking that picture of him before I go to sleep every night. Hurry back, Dan.
Dan's on a secret mission,
Yeah.
and you'll hear where he is eventually when he comes back.
You won't hear from him, you'll just hear it in the headlines. Shall we get back on to what we're talking about?
Well, what we're supposed to be talking
What we're
about.
supposed to be talking about is Formula One.
But however, news has got in the way.
Good news?
Well, it's kind of...
Other things.
It's kind of Formula One news.
It's related to Formula One.
It's happening on the grid, so
Yeah.
yes. I just want to start off by saying my take on the Grid Girls thing. I'm not bothered.
No, Dan was the only one I think of the four of us who sat around the table last week, saying that the Grid Girls should definitely go. And then the following day, Formula One decided to listen to Dan, and
Everyone has decided Dan is the voice of reason.
well, you know, Dan goes on these secret missions. He said, "I'm leaving now."
That's
after
what he's
last week's
doing now.
podcast.
He's off recruiting grid kits right now.
And yeah. So I'm of the opinion it doesn't change the sport, whether it's kids or whether it's girls or whether it's lumps of. I think Dan put it in the point, whether it's lumps of metal.
Yeah.
With a hole in to put the sign.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you can't just It doesn't matter. It's not going to change what happens as soon as the lights go out all the way to the checker flag. Nobody's going to be thinking, I wonder what happened to Marcus Ericsson's Grid Girl.
The only issue I've got with any of it is I don't care. I don't care if it's grid girls. I don't care if it's grid children. I don't care if it's grid rabbits. I don't want grid dogs because that's a fucking ridiculous thing.
That's
Yeah,
just
they'll
going to
load
be
of poo.
shit on the grid.
Yeah.
It would
They'll
just-
poo everywhere.
Although Grid Rabbits, I mean, can you imagine the humping that would go on?
There'd be more grid rabbits.
Also,
At the
grid
next
rabbits, excrement with the grid rabbits, that's like ball bearings. They just slide everywhere.
Yeah,
Cars
they-
would slide
they'd just go in
everywhere.
with marbles, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I think any kind of grid animal would be a problem for Pirelli. They would have to do a lot more.
Does anybody remember when Eddie
scenarios.
Irvine hit that hare at the British Grand Prix?
I saw it.
You
I
were
was on the
there.
corner.
You were there.
Yeah.
And that's where all the jokes about Eddie Irvine's bad hair game came from.
Last time I take a fucking animal to a race with me. Oh, Flopsy wants to go out. Yeah, Flopsy!
You did that without clipping. That was remarkably impressive.
But
Audio quality.
I just like the only issue I've got with it is the people that are championing.
Championing.
Champion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't say that word.
Amongst the issues that you've got, including how to say it.
Yeah. The people that have been
Championing.
it. There's it's this nice little nucleus of people where they decide that anyone that doesn't agree with them is a bell end, and anyone that stays quiet agrees with them, and there seems to be an awful lot of, well, this is a good thing, this is a good thing for everybody, but there's no one's asked the models.
No, that's my only bugbear with
Yeah.
it, is that it doesn't matter to me whether it's women, whether
And
it's
don't get me
men,
wrong.
whether it's...
If
You know.
there's a ton of historic sexual harassment claims which have been all brushed under the carpet.
Oh, yeah, that would be completely
that would
different.
completely change my opinion.
Yeah.
But from what if
There are a lot of disgruntled grid girls, aren't there, coming
Yeah.
out saying, well, I've lost my job now,
Yeah,
thanks.
I wrote something for the website last
Yeah, you
week.
did.
And I spent an hour or so trawling through Twitter trying to find grid girls and trying to find one that had a bad thing to say about it. And none of them did. They all said it was a great job, they're well looked after, they're well paid.
yeah.
Some of them are self-employed and have actually built up good working relationships in a PR sense, rather than not just standing there looking pretty, handing out leaflets or smile for the cameras with a sponsor's name somewhere on their clothing, but actual PR.
Yeah,
work
it's
that they can do.
networking as
I
well
was
for
just
them,
gonna
setting
say,
up
yeah.
a
top
later
and
career.
bottom of it is, I mean, even like for us, for instance, if we were to go to do like something and get paddock passes for it and stuff like that,
Yeah,
the networking we could do to help further our careers
exactly. Yeah,
would
so
be fucking massive, and that's the same for anybody that is in that situation.
yeah, it's
And
a big
that's just
business
been
thing.
took away.
Formula One is a big business.
I just don't understand why the social justice keyboard warriors have gone so crazy on that, but yet we're perfectly happy to go and buy Vanity Fair, which has a half-starved model on the front of it.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, but I do also, from the other side of the coin, see Susie Wolf's point of view, where she said that they didn't particularly offend her, but it was probably right that they were taken off because the role models for girls in Formula One probably shouldn't be the girls that are stood there holding the signs, looking good, which is grand. That's fine.
Yeah.
And it should be the engineers, the pit crew. We were just discussing before, Sean, how there are a few women in the sport in the various teams. We know McLaren have a race engineer.
Yep.
There's definitely tire girls at Pirelli.
Yeah.
Who will be just as qualified as the men in their field of work, and that's the way it is. That's the way the world works. There doesn't have to be. I think in a way it causes more of a divide by saying no grid girls.
Yeah.
So how old? Playing devil's advocate here. How old do one of these grid kids have to be before they're considered a grid girl?
Yeah.
It's.
Did
Do you
not
know what I
say
mean?
in the press release.
that's a fine point, because if all of a sudden you're going to have
Junior kart members, basically, isn't it, and their family.
See, I also do find the crazy thing is that just having these people there is a bit antiquated. So I've often, like, especially watching like bike race and stuff like I was saying to you before, I find it a bit uncomfortable. I'm not some sort of fucking caveman.
No, of course. No.
What I want boobs.
Who's the
There's enough
MotoGP
tits
rider?
on the grid, but
Who's the MotoGP rider who had his wife as the grid girl every race?
I can't remember.
Oh, Casey Stoner.
Casey, was it Stoner?
He always had
his wife
lady
as
as-
his
But
umbrella
she was
girl.
a grid girl.
Yeah.
Isn't that how he met her?
Yeah, he met her. I think she was quite young when they met, and I think they kept meeting
Hashtag
a
grid
few
girls.
times.
Hashtag grid kids.
I don't think she was quite a grid kid. But no, I think she kept getting appointed to him, and it went from there really. But yeah, after
Stockholm syndrome.
after they were together, she was still always on the grid.
It's a fine dating routine.
I lost a lot of respect for Casey Stoner when Valentino Rossi ploughed into Casey Stoner at a race, and then the cameras
Giggity.
and the cameras followed Rossi going into the I think it was a Honda garage to say sorry to Casey Stoner, say I'm really sorry about that. Rossi walked up, shook his hand, said I'm really sorry, my fault, my mistake, and Stoner responded with, your ambition outweighed your talent there, didn't it? I stood there, jaw open, like you what?
You see, I don't know. See, if he was just saying that as more of a joke than an argument, fucking brilliant.
But it didn't sound it or look it. It was it wasn't. Anyway, we don't do MotoGP on this podcast very often.
But yeah,
No,
but
we,
it's
we,
just-
we do if it's during the season. That hasn't started yet, so.
Yeah, but it's nice to draw comparisons between something like MotoGP. I mean, there's been talk of getting rid of grid girls for the Isle of Man TT as well. The Isle of Man, the organisers of the Isle of Man TT have turned around and said no plans to.
I think with the TT as well, it's not so much that the TT supplies them; they usually turn up with the sponsors or with the individual teams.
Yeah, and a lot of local girls are hired by sponsors of the races to.
Yeah, I think the girls
essentially-
on the podium are usually local.
Yeah, and then, to essentially,
Is it
advertise
at
the
least-
sponsors.
Is it at least a valid argument to make that? Because this argument only ever seems to come up on the female to male side, where I don't think anyone ever argues about a woman finding a man attractive in a situation, be it modelling or like.
It's rare. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, regardless of whether people want to do this, the reason that Formula One is a male-dominated sport is because, in general, there has been more men that have been interested in motorsport than women. That's just a fact. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that,
and going back to
I'm not
bike
saying
racing,
girls don't. All you need to do is look at our podcast listeners for a demographic. We have some fine ladies that listen to our podcast, and they're all great to talk to. They're all very knowledgeable, but they're the minority of our listener figures, and that's simply
a majority of our listeners are male.
yeah, and that's not sexist. That's just numbers. So of course, if it was the other way round, and there was more women watching Formula One to men, the grid boys would all be stood there with their shirts off because there's more women watching the sport.
I can see where you're coming from. Yeah.
And I don't think, like, the sponsors are always going to send what they think the target audience is going to gravitate towards.
Yeah, it comes down to that social argument. I can't remember who put it forward, but it's going way back into the 90s now. That men going to watch women take their clothes off and paying money to go into a club and watch women take their clothes off is seen as kind of seedy and a bit degrading.
Yeah.
But if a woman goes to watch like the Chippendales,
It's fun.
It's a fun night out for
Yeah.
the girls. Yeah. I can't remember who put that argument forward, but that was somebody. I'm talking like 20 odd years ago now.
Yeah.
Probably
who
around
said
about the
that.
time the Full Monty came out.
I think it was possibly
Probably
around.
started that
I think
conversation.
the problem is as well, this is people are so easily triggered by these things at the minute that you constantly talk about things walking on eggshells, and it shouldn't be the case.
And it, much like has happened in this podcast, it
Yeah.
detracts from the actual sport.
Fucking right, it does.
Shall we talk about something track related?
We can do.
Controversial.
So, McLaren.
And it actually is a McLaren story.
It is a McLaren story. Zach Brown says that Alonso is resuming his rivalry with Hamilton this season.
Or he hopes to give him a car that will allow Alonso to resume his rivalry with Hamilton. There's a lot of speculation and a lot of hype surrounding McLaren in this preseason because of their switch to Renault. They have said that one of their chief designers has come out and said that they want to get a driver-friendly car is more important than anything else. It has to work for the drivers before it, before we do anything else. The drivers have to be happy. And yeah, for Zach Brown to come out and say, I think it's only been reported in the Daily Express and a couple of other minor motorsport journals as well. But Zach Brown saying that Alonso versus Hamilton is kind of what the fans want to see. And we saw it briefly, didn't we, in Mexico when Hamilton was working his way through the field. The back end of the points, he came up against Fernando Alonso. And Hamilton was finding it difficult to pass cars because he had damage from the earlier incident with Vettel when they clashed. And Alonso was just being Alonso and being a bit of a pest. And there was a brilliant dice between the two of them through like 3 or 4 corners. It was great.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see that throughout F1 2018?
Yeah, damn right.
Stick Vettel in the mix as well. You're going to have Hamilton, Vettel, and Alonso? Come on, right. If it happens, it's worth hyping it up.
Yeah, definitely. I hope it does.
I hope it happens.
Yeah. 50 to 1 as well.
You got 50 to 1.
No, 50 to 1 for Fernando Alonso to win Le Mans, which I personally think that given the cars that are in it,
Yep.
given how high profile he is and how he'll be treated by Toyota,
Yep.
it's more profitable for Toyota to have Alonso's car win that race than any of the other Toyotas. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think if that car...
Do we know who he's being teamed with yet?
Yes,
He's
it's
got Anthony
Buemi
Davidson's drive.
and Nakajima.
Ah, right. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
Anthony Davidson's
He's
drive.
carrying
Yeah.
on as test and development, I think. Anthony Davidson, but he's not racing.
Yeah. Probably because he'll be racing next year when Alonso's not doing it.
When he gets bored.
Yeah.
But don't forget, Alonso is doing 2 Le Mans because he's doing all the World Endurance season, which is the
yeah.
mega season,
Yeah.
2018-2019, which starts and finishes with...
No, it starts with 6 hours of Spa in April and then
and
finishes.
then it finishes with the 2019 Le Mans.
Yeah.
How crazy is that, though, that they're talking about moving a race so Alonso can do it?
Well, yeah, this is another part of the jigsaw.
Yeah,
In the Fuji Speedway, does it clash with the United States Grand Prix?
it does.
And of course,
As I dropped in on last week's podcast.
yeah. And
Tell you what, about that extra microphone, it's paying for itself.
and the Fuji Speedway is owned by Toyota, isn't it?
Yes.
So they are looking perhaps to maybe move that race so that Alonso can do that as well. Because
we double booked.
exactly, yeah. Because Zach Brown has basically said that Fernando Alonso has to fulfil his Formula One commitments first, which kind of makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. The problems with moving that one would be for Alonso, that would give him 5 race weekends in a row,
Wow.
which would be a bit busy. But also, I think they moved that race back this year. It usually is the week before the US Grand Prix, but I think it clashes with Petit Le Mans which is a round of IMSA, which is exactly what it sounds like.
Well,
It's
they
meant
won't
to be
move.
like a little
They
Le
won't
Mans.
move. They're too stubborn.
Goddamn petty Le Mans.
There's quite a lot of crossover of the drivers. So a lot of drivers that do World Endurance also are in IMSA. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they wanted those to not be on the same weekend, but that's not happening if it moves. So
Yeah.
I mean, there is actually only 8 races on the WEC mega calendar this year.
Yeah, but they go on for a whole day, like literally a day.
Let's have a look. There's only 2, and they're both Le Mans.
So
Everything else-
6 hours of
Six-
Spa
yeah.
is a big race.
Yeah.
Just quickly for our gambling portion of the podcast, 50-1 for Alonso to win win Le Mans and the World Drivers' Championship in Formula One.
See, now
both of them, Jesus.
That's worth a fiver, though, isn't it?
it's I don't know.
I don't know if it's a £5. Might be a £1.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know because
You'd be mortified then.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're up on our betting account because we won £11.29.
Oh yeah,
Super
no,
Bowl
I am.
last night.
I'd had 2 successful Super Bowl bets last night. I had 1 touchdown, which was good. I also had the over/under on the length of the national anthem, which I was very pleased with.
Oh, you
Made
can-
me £1.10.
Do you could bet on what colour hair Pink's hair
You could
was
bet on
gonna
her
be.
lipstick. You could bet on her outfit. You could bet on what colour the Gatorade was going to be when it got thrown at people at the end of the game. It's
You could bet on whether
fucking
Pink missed a
ridiculous.
word out of the national anthem. That was another one that I remember.
What?
What colour shirt, T-shirt, or hoodie the coach of the New England Patriots was wearing?
This
You don't get this in F1. You can't
betting's
bet on
gone mental.
What colour will Lewis Hamilton's earrings be?
Gold.
Blingy.
How many chains will he wear?
Gold.
Many.
Over under of 4.
Gold.
4.5.
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
Because when you do an over-under bet, it's always half a point.
Yeah, because it's either a full or it has
Yeah.
to be a
Yeah,
whole
so it
number,
can't
doesn't
be
it?
exactly.
Yeah.
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 Staying with McLaren, just as an aside,
That's not like us at all.
Not in the slightest. The Amazon documentary is launching on, or the Amazon documentary series is launching on the 9th. 4-part series about the whole of the 2017 season.
Or is it not just before? Just
Well,
leading
from
up to?
pre-season testing.
Yeah.
And I think the cameras were there for everything.
In which it's quite a concern at some point, apparently, that Fernando Alonso could have just walked away from the team any time from pre-season testing all the way up to about Russia.
Well, I think we were saying that there was a little bit of us didn't expect him to make the start of the season. All of a sudden it makes much more sense why McLaren kept Jensen on as reserve driver.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, which if I'm right in thinking, was that not a really late announcement that the three of them? It was going to be Van Dorn, Alonso.
Yeah,
and
it was
Button.
very, very late. Yeah.
I think it was just before testing started.
Yeah,
And yeah, apparently in this documentary you'll be able to see why. I mean, they thought he was going to walk out on day 1 of the first test. After 1 lap because the car was that bad.
I watched a really interesting thing. I know this isn't quite McLaren, but it's Honda related. Did any of you catch the journalist special on Sky?
No.
Just before
No.
Christmas.
No.
I hadn't, but I was doing nothing yesterday and saw it on catch up, so I downloaded it and watched it. And there was pretty unanimous call from the journalists that were there that McLaren might have made a mistake by binning Honda off, by basically blaming McLaren for making Honda have an engine design that they didn't want in the first place, and that they making them cater too much for the size 0 rather than it being
a bit of a balance.
balance. And they were saying that Honda only actually got it their own way last year, and they made more advancement in that whole year than any other team made on their engine over the course of the season.
You mean the post-Ron era?
Well, yeah, but they made more advancements on their engine than any other team. But that's easy to say because they had the most to make up. But yeah, they were almost saying that possibly come next year, Toro Rosso might not be in bad shape with a Honda in it.
That's if Toro Rosso and Honda listen to and actually work with each other.
They've been saying all the right things, Toro Rosso, about Honda have found this, we've fit the engine in,
Yeah.
you know, McLaren were unflexible, we're not. They've been saying all of that kind of thing, so... but then they probably wouldn't they? They're not going to be like, no, it's shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, building a car and without thinking about the design of the power unit might not be a sensible thing. But being as ruthless as they have been has also seen McLaren get an awful lot of success over the years, as well as this period of, was it 5 seasons now without a win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm not
3
saying
of those
that,
with Honda.
I'm not saying that obviously McLaren were evil and Honda were all
No,
righteous.
because also just go back to those last 2 seasons with Mercedes. They still had a Mercedes in that car and they didn't win races.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Very, very fucking good point.
yeah.
I was just going to say what would their last Mercedes year have been?
2014.
2014.
Yeah, but they had a podium in the first race.
Yeah, but then literally one of the worst McLarens that's ever been made.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll definitely be watching it when it comes out the weekend. I think we all will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
And if you haven't got Amazon Prime, you always get a 30-day free trial. It gives you time to watch the lot.
Absolutely. Just going back to that previous point, does anyone think it's a bit too bold to say that Alonso could challenge Hamilton here and there in 2018?
I don't think so. I mean, let's face it. Honda backed out of Formula One.
Well, backed out of McLaren.
No, well,
I see. You're talking about it's
Brawn.
10 years ago. Yeah.
Backed out of Formula One. Brawn got a Mercedes engine, stuck it in what ended up being a really good car, and won a world championship.
Yeah.
It is more believable that McLaren can change engines and instantly win a world championship than it would have been Brawn doing it. So if
Yeah.
Brawn can do it,
Yeah.
McLaren can do it.
Yeah.
And let's face it, I know I'm a worshipper at the altar of Button, but not only is McLaren have possibly the finest driver ever to drive in Formula One.
Fernando Alonso.
That doesn't hurt. That's a plus. If anyone's wondering whether that's a plus or a minus, that is in the plus column.
What, David Brabham?
David Coulthard.
Oh, we'll get onto David Coulthard later.
Talking of which, he's next on the running order.
Oh, is he sort of next on the running order?
Sort of next, because it's the race of, I'm doing air quotes, champions.
Race of race of champions. Champions.
Turns out you're more likely to win the race of champions if you've never been a world champion in Formula One.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about this before, and is Formula One now not allowed to do race of champions
It
because
stood out like a sore thumb, didn't
because
it?
their line?
There isn't one of the 20 Formula One drivers. None of them were
And
there.
also,
there were
no,
reserve drivers.
Yeah, but there were no champions. Well, Tom Christensen was there, but there were no champions.
This might be the same reason why Formula One drivers aren't allowed to do proper rallying.
Actually, friend of the podcast, Lando Norris, is a Formula 3 champion.
Yeah, there was the DTM champion, Rene Rast.
Yes.
Yes, he was there.
A very
Who else was there? There was
Race of-
champions, but yeah.
Well, let's have a look. We had
race of
Petter
champion.
Solberg.
Petter Solberg. He's won lots of things.
World
He's
Rally champion.
Rallycross champion at the
He's
moment.
Rallycross now.
Yeah.
He
His
sounds like a
son is
lager.
rallying as well now, on a scary side note.
What, Petter Solberg's son?
Petter
'Cause
Solberg's
is Petter
son.
Solberg not a brother of another?
Henning
Ra-
Solberg. He's
Yes.
the older one, I think.
I was
Not
convinced
as
you were
good.
going to say a brother from another mother then.
brother. I was going to say brother of another rally driver, but then I realised quite what a mouthful that was.
Helio Castroneves, Juan Pablo Montoya, IndyCar champions.
Joseph Newgarden was there as well, wasn't he? He
Uh,
is the
yes. Current
Yes.
IndyCar champion.
So there were some champions.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ryan Hunter-Reay. I'm sure he's won the IndyCar.
He's won Indy
Possibly.
500.
He should be a country singer.
Of course, Montoya was there as well, who was the Race of Champions champion.
The reigning champion of champions champion.
But anything I saw from the stadium, there was nobody inside.
No.
It was empty.
Was it really?
Yeah. They had the...
Do you remember when they did it at Wembley and it was packed?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they do it at the O2 as well sometime?
Possibly. I definitely saw the one in Wembley because I was interested to see how they were going to race around the inside of Wembley
Yeah.
Stadium.
Maybe I'm getting confused.
That was back in the days when, the Formula One weren't scared to enter the Race of Champions. Oh, David Coulthard was there. That's why we started talking about it. He's not a Formula One champion.
He's not a current driver.
He's not. No, he's driving promotionally for Red Bull in Australia at the moment, as far as I know.
It was the Olympic Stadium in 2015.
Was it?
The other two were at Wembley.
Although he was there in his Mercedes overalls
Was he?
at the Race of Champions.
But yeah, badly attended, and I think some of the European Indy cars that they were using were actually too big for the track.
Oh no.
The cars were longer than the track was wide.
So if it spun,
So if you got it sideways,
too late.
yeah,
No way, that's crazy.
yeah, you had your back bumper in the barrier and your front wheels on the gravel.
Which I didn't watch it. Which were they using? Indy cars? What do you mean?
Not IndyCar, sorry, NASCARs.
NASCArs,
European
they
NASCARs.
They use all sorts of sort of thing. They use like those
Spider things.
Yeah, Dakar buggies and
Yeah.
sort
Yeah,
of.
they had some kind of buggy. They had a vool, which I don't know entirely what that is, but it's an awesome word.
Sounds like a small animal.
Yes.
Vol.
They had some kind of pickup truck for the
Doesn't sound like an
Americans.
animal.
NASCAR.
They had NASCARs, V8 NASCARs, I think they were.
Yeah, the V8 Euro NASCAR series. We can turn left in Europe as well.
I think that was where everyone was going
Which is
wrong, because
rare
there
in
were a
Europe
couple of
these days, let's be
chicanes.
honest.
I wonder what it was like for those cars to be driven by people that weren't married to their cousins.
Maybe they were. Royalty in that.
Wouldn't say that to old Montoya.
Good point.
I think Montoya would spread your nose all about yourself.
Probably. Yeah.
But yeah, it was it was not the spectacle that it has been in
It
previous
was,
years.
it
I
was
think
distinctly average.
the money was there for it to be in Riyadh, but the
Last year's one was entertaining, not just because Verline hurt himself, but also 'cause
If it's Bloodsport you're looking for, Lando Norris did injure his hand.
yeah, he hurt, Lando Norris, friend of the podcast, hurt his hand.
So we're not even going to get reserve drivers now.
No.
No, but the Felipe Massa Montoya thing from last year, which is like I never even touched the barrier.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you disqualified because you touched the barrier. It's like I didn't even touch the barrier.
He was raging, wasn't he?
Yeah. Angry Massa, and it was Montoya who had to point out there's a big white stripe down the side of your car, Felipe. You might want to back out this argument.
yeah, I don't
Race of Champions, you're only there by default.
Yeah, it's not race of number twos.
No, Massa was allowed to be there for 30 seconds.
In Brazil.
I'm sure that lad's had a bump on his head.
Yeah, he lost his place in the second round to Timo Glock. Oh God, moving swiftly on. Right, the TV announcements.
We've had a bit of fallout from this.
Sorry,
after
just quickly, I do hope we don't get any backlash from Massa's fan. Carry on.
Yeah, we've had a bit of a backlash from what we were talking about the TV announcements last week.
With the increase in pay-per-view services.
Yeah.
And
the
also
lack of is more to do with the lack of free to air Formula One TV, meaning that if you're going to get no new eyes on the sport because no one's going to pay for a subscription for something they're not that
And
interested in yet.
you've already got dwindling viewer figures, and it
Yep.
becomes more difficult to watch.
Yep.
Surely that's a crisis.
Yeah, and what about where is the future of the sport if you're putting everything behind a paywall?
the future of the sport is 10 minutes into the future because all the races are now 10 minutes later.
Well, that's not going to make a difference. No one, Johnny English, no, not Rowan Atkinson, but all right, Johnny Scottish sat up in
Johnny Dumfries, he barely ever finished a race.
yeah. His name wasn't Johnny Dumfries.
Yeah, it was.
No, his name was Earl Lord something, wasn't he?
Of
And
Dumfries. So he called himself Johnny Dumfries.
he had to shorten his name.
Yes.
Yeah, he had about 20 names.
Yeah, like the Austrian prince that was in Daytona.
Yes.
Do you know when you sometimes you can be so on board with the conversation and then lose it so fucking rapidly?
Anyway, Johnny Scottish is sat up there in Scotland and he's thinking, I don't particularly enjoy Formula One, but there's nothing else on TV. I'll give it a watch. Oh, it's 20 quid a month. Nah, you're all right.
I'm out, mate.
Yeah. Or there's nothing on this Sunday afternoon. It's 2:10. Handily enough, I've just finished my roast dinner. I'll watch the Formula One because it's free and it's on TV. Clearly, that's where you're going to get the eyes on the sport from. We've had quite a lot of responses from you guys. We asked for them. I also sent an open invite, audio only, to Sean Bratches to come on the show, and he hasn't been in touch. You will be surprised to hear. So it's now I may have to reach out to him actually and ask him to come on the show.
Don't think he'll have had a chance to listen. He's had a busy week.
He's had quite a busy week, what with the whole commercial thing going on.
Yeah.
Well, go on.
You were saying?
No, Lee
No, no,
wasn't
it's all right,
saying. Lee
carry
wasn't
on.
going to say anything.
Oh, if only that happened more.
So yeah, we've had a mixed bag of responses, but they all appear to be in the same kind of vein. In that, some of the stuff we said about US TV coverage last week was incorrect, and that Formula One is not always behind a paywall, but it's not advertised.
No.
And what's the point in that if you're not going to put it behind a paywall and then not pay to advertise it?
Well, something else has happened since we did our last podcast, and this is going to come as a shock to some of you. I think I know what the future is.
Dun dun dun.
You fixing Formula One again?
For Formula One's sake, I'm not this time. But I think it's Formula E. I think the Gen 2 cars look amazing. I think they're going to be those cars enough on their own are enough to bring
New eyes.
new eyes that don't watch something normally.
Yeah.
That go, motherfucker. I mean,
That looks like something from the future.
I was amazed by.
A DeLorean?
Almost.
I tweeted out the article. What was the man's name that we met when we went to McLaren?
Lando Norris?
No, the young journalist guy.
Nathan.
Yeah, I retweeted his article out. If anyone follows me on Twitter, go and look at, or go look, have a look down my tweets at Total Shunt, and I put his
Don't do it at work.
his article out.
Yeah, NSFW guys.
Yeah, and it was a fucking really good article, and I didn't realise some of the stuff about the Gen 2 car. Didn't realise that the cars were going to go pretty much the same speed as a Formula 1 car around street circuits.
And no recharging.
No recharging.
Mhm.
It's they seem to be making all the right moves, and I don't think they're not doing anything like fundamentally fucking groundbreaking. Well, I suppose it is with all being electric and stuff, but they're not doing anything like,
Except for all the science, they're not doing anything groundbreaking.
yeah, but they're not doing anything crazy. But I just think by the time Formula One has finished cannibalizing itself as they're building themselves up, they might just be at that point to be the option. And I think I can't remember whether I said it to you guys or when, or whether it was just something I thought in my head. But if the bullshit in Formula One gets enough that after the Gen 2 cars come out and like some of the other drivers go, wow, because like Jensen didn't want to go to Formula E because he said they were too slow, if you remember. Now, if
Was that his main reason that they were too slow?
Yeah,
I thought it was the lack of scheduling because the races were too far apart.
No, he said it wasn't. It just wasn't exciting because
Okay.
of the speed of the cars. But if those cars are what I would consider like legitimate premium class racing cars with these new cars, because I don't think Formula E cars are like a Premier Class series at the minute.
They're on the way though.
No, they're
doing all the
on
right
the way.
things.
All it would take. Could you imagine if all of a sudden Lewis Hamilton or Sebastian Vettel or Alonso turned around and said, "Do you know what? Fuck Formula One.
I'm off to Formula E.
And signed for a Formula E team, not because of necessity, but because of choice."
And desire.
That's fucking Scott Hall and Kevin Nash going to WCW.
Yeah.
And I think that's enough.
Good analogy.
So,
Yeah.
so does that mean Chase Carey will get other drivers in that look like them and claim it's them?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obscure 90s wrestling references. We've got them.
Yeah, we have.
But
Fake
yeah.
Diesel was terrible.
It was Kane.
Was.
But yeah, I can see something like that happening.
Yeah.
I think Formula E's got so many things it needs to do. It needs to get its season in the same year. That would be a massive bonus to them.
I think, yeah.
And maybe an extra couple of races so they weren't spread out so fucking far.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. You kind of lose track of where they are, don't you? In between, it's like, oh, it's Formula E again this weekend. I'd
All
forgotten
on-
that
Yeah,
was
but
a thing.
again with the advertising,
Yeah.
something that's on free to air is poorly advertised.
All on one channel would be another help. Not split between Spike, Eurosport, and
Channel 5 and BT.
We were talking last week about Sky Sports announcing their schedule for UK coverage, what races they've got exclusively, and what races they're going to share with Channel 4, and we got a message just last night from a listener who said, would you believe that
Mark Big Mig Wolfskill.
Yep. Would you believe that we don't actually know the schedule here in the US? We haven't got a clue.
That's
It's not been
crazy.
advertised anywhere.
Well, then no one's picked it up yet, have they? Have they?
ESPN have got it,
Oh,
but I
have they?
mean,
Well, you say last night it was about 2:45 this morning. It's just that I read it in the pub because we were watching the Super Bowl. It was also complimenting Tom Brady on his hair game.
Right, good stuff. I don't know who this man is. I can't comment.
ESPN.
You don't know who Tom Brady is?
No.
Listen to the Patreon podcast, you'll find out.
What? I still won't have seen him.
Anyway, ESPN have got a number of channels, haven't they, in the US? Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Of I don't know all the names of them, but much like we've got Sky Sports and they've got Sky Sports Premier League, Sky Sports whatever. Nobody knows what channel ESPN Formula One is going to be shown on.
That's ridiculous. Like, it's just.
And are they going to be showing races on ABC free to air at some point of the season?
Probably
Because
not.
they own. Well, they should show the US Grand Prix
Wouldn't
at
you
least.
think? Wouldn't you think that?
But have they got that protected law like we were talking about the British Grand Prix being protected by law in
No.
the UK?
No, I wouldn't
exactly,
have thought
that's the
so.
thing. It's all to do with money, and if the money's not there, I don't think they'll put anything on
Well,
the free to air.
ESPN haven't paid, by all accounts. They've been given the rights.
Yeah, but they haven't got a build-up show or anything. They're literally starting it 5 minutes before the race, and then as soon as the podium interviews are done, that's it. That's your show over.
Well, they clearly haven't got. They haven't decided what they're doing with it yet. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
It's just going to be stuck on as and where, and it's going to be dotted around,
Probably float around the channels.
float around the channels like Formula E coverage does
Yeah.
over here.
I mean, I can't get over what you were saying to me last week. I didn't realise that as of next year, the free-to-air stuff in Britain ends, apart from the British Grand Prix.
Yeah.
That will decimate Formula One viewing figures.
Absolutely.
In what I don't know, country for country, you'd think maybe Britain has got to be one of the biggest markets.
I think it's second behind Germany.
Second behind Germany, is it?
And the German market fell loads when Vettel stopped winning world championships.
And it had already fell loads with Schumacher because even then the Germans.
I think it built up a bit when Vettel started winning world
but they
championships.
never really took to Vettel the same way as they took to
Schumacher.
Schumacher. I think it might be the British humour, but
They have Lauder as a commentator, so humour wasn't allowed.
did we also talk about the money loss, or has that been since we did our last podcast?
Money loss?
Formula One lost 13 million last year.
But that was part of the restructuring.
It was part of the restructuring,
And also they saved a lot on tax revenues.
but it's also the largest financial loss Formula One has ever had over 12 months.
Yeah.
But sorry, just quickly. I would like to know whether that's dodgy deals that Bernie was putting in place, or things he wasn't doing on his way out.
Yeah.
Or whether it's Liberty since they've took over.
It was Liberty because what they've done is they've restructured a lot of the company into working in a more efficient way.
Yeah.
So, all right, they may have lost $13 million in the last 12 months.
Certainly saving money on TV cameras.
Yeah, but they're saving money in tax for one thing, and also the restructuring is going to save them an awful lot of money. So that $13 million will probably be replenished this year or in the next couple of years.
For the record, I'm still very positive about Liberty taking over Formula One. But I do worry that just given how long it is until a new Conco agreement can be written up, and all, when they can iron out the problems with the teams and stuff like that. When you add to that where you're trying to make deals with teams that have all got too much say in Formula One. Every single team has far too much to say about the running of the sport, where they should be more concerned with the running of their team, given a set of rules, and that's what you need to adhere to. We'll see you in March.
Well, that's it. I mean, look at the cars that they're going to build in 2018. I mean, are we going to be as amazed when Williams are the first to go, aren't they? First to launch?
Looks like it at the moment, yeah.
We're still waiting for launch dates from Red Bull and Haas and Force India.
Yes.
Yeah. When Williams either pull the sheet back or show us the render of their 2018 car, whatever it is they decide to do, are we going to be as amazed with that as we are with the Gen 2 Formula E car?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And that's part of the problem.
Yeah. I've said this now for what is this our 4th year of doing the podcast?
Yep.
I think I've said it consistently all the way through, saying the problem is 90% of people purchase with their eyes, no matter what it is, before they've done it. When you see something, you've decided whether you're invested in it or not. Almost.
Admittedly, the first year you said it a lot less sweary because we weren't sure if we were allowed to swear back then.
This is true, and
We are if we put an explicit thing on the podcast.
We didn't have an explicit thing back then, but we do now.
We do.
We can say bums.
yeah, damn.
We can say crap.
Willies. But I've lost where I am now.
Stop thinking about willies.
Don't say it, baby.
Thank you, Jacques Villeneuve.
Yeah, the shit
41
thing with it is the fact that you can take. Obviously, I would know, like, if you showed me an Arrows, like a 97 Arrows,
Yeah.
and a 2008 fucking
McLaren. Yeah.
I would know that they're from different years. I don't think Johnny Knobhead that they're trying to attract would.
Is he related to Johnny Scotland?
Yes.
It's his cousin.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's there are differences, but I get the feeling that the last 10 years maybe, because that 2008 McLaren, for example, and also the Ferraris back then were starting to look a little bit futuristic with like little bits of wings here and there and bits sort of coming off the car. But then all of a sudden the rules were like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And they went back to being not retro, but just a bit bland.
I think the cars have gone, like last year, these cars are the closest cars we've had since like 96, 97. Since, like, for all the stuff in
Going
between,
back
in
to
the
the
middle.
width, you mean?
Yeah, yeah. Or but just even the style of the cars, I think, very similar. But, yeah, sorry, that's what I was trying to say. I'm still very positive about Liberty. I think they've got good ideas for the sport. I hope they're going to push it in the right way. But by the time they get to do the new Concorde agreement and by the time they get to bring new cars in, they might be trying to fucking resuscitate a dead dog.
That's pretty much what I said last week.
Yeah. I think
like-
you even used a dog analogy.
Yeah, I
didn't
did.
you?
I said they bought a sick dog and promised to make it better, and they've just shot it.
Yeah, I don't want Formula One to go to the field with the other motorsports.
Well, it's where Jansen is. What have we got next? It says podcast awards.
Yes. Are we eligible for podcast awards yet?
We are eligible for the podcast awards, but the listeners' choice nominations hasn't opened yet, so we can't ask for votes on that because that doesn't happen until March. But what we're going to put in for the UK podcast awards this year, and what we have to do to put an application in is do a greatest hits tape.
From 2017.
All from 2017. So, as we've all got crap memories,
Shh, we're not asking the viewers, the listeners, to do our work for us again.
Who's watching
This is definitely
us?
not what we're doing.
not in the slightest,
This isn't anything like what I did with Formula Lee.
because we're a complete democracy, though.
Yes.
If you've got any bits of the show from 2017 that you think was an absolute standout moment,
Something that made you laugh.
something that made you laugh,
in a toilet at an airport.
yes,
Or,
or on a plane, or
Yeah.
trains, or whatever.
yeah.
Let us know what your favourite bits of the podcast from 2017 were, and we will make this sort of show reel that we send off to the podcast awards for our attempt at getting recognised.
If you really
You can
want
become
to,
Geordie LaForge with these headphones. Look.
if you really want to, you can go back and listen to classic episodes and tell us which were your favourite bits, and then send us the time in which the favourite bits start
Yeah,
and the favourite bits end.
Yeah, at least sort of tell us roughly when it was so we can go back and find them.
I mean, realistically, if you want to listen to it and you want to stick it in your whatever your recording platform of choice is and chop it out for us and Dropbox it, that's even better.
No, it's good. No, there's quality restrictions. It's got to be done on WAV files, which I've got the master WAVs.
If there's quality restrictions, mate, we're fucked.
Technical quality restrictions, not actual speaking quality.
No, technically, we have quality issues.
Don't tell them that. Chris, pick the guitar up.
It's not that time already.
It
is
is that time already because, well, nothing ever happens in the off
It
season.
would be nice if we managed to win an award though.
You would go full on Sally Field though if we got an award because you like me. You really like me.
Do it for 3 legs, 4 wheels' sake.
Yes.
Chris,
Oh yeah.
that's
guitar.
a phone that's in your hand. That's not a guitar.
I was looking for more things to talk about, but if we genuinely run out, then
Well, yes.
we haven't run out of things. So we've got other
There's lots of things we could talk about, but we'd get sued.
Probably. I've done it again.
Oh,
There we go.
so half the time you're recording this this new album of yours, it's just you unknotting yourself from the guitar and the headphones.
I haven't done any guitar yet.
So good. I think I'm finally back to speed with the with the total shunt. They were all over the fucking place at one point. And I think I'm back to the point where I can just pick the top one and it works.
Just pick the top one.
Yeah.
So if you want to get your total shunt suggestions in, get them in late.
No, I'm just going through the list. But there was we had an influx. Send more, like do send more because I will get through them. And if you send one now, I'll probably do it next week.
I've got one.
Oh, there's still some.
We're not allowed to enter. Remember?
No,
Damn.
there's still so many.
Total shunt. Everybody, he's a total shunt. Gets questions all the time. Too many. Who does he choose? Look out. Here comes a total shunt.
Considering that guitar's got a massive split in it and it's never tuned, it's had strings on it now for about 15 years.
It's all right.
Doesn't sound too bad, does it?
That's more the player than the instrument.
So basically, what you're saying is your playing is out of tune.
Yes.
It's just as out of tune as the guitar, so it kind of cancels itself at matching sine waves.
Science.
I was born
Oh, who sent this one in, by the way?
Nick Johnston.
Right.
Thank you, Nick. I think.
I am reserving thanks until the end.
He's also got his Twitter account locked.
Sean, no pressure, but Dan got last week's one after question 1.
Yeah.
Good lord.
I never know if I totally trust people to lock their Twitter profiles.
You've got to wonder what's on there, haven't you?
Yeah. Unless he's a very important
Maybe
man.
he's an associate of Dan.
If he's a very important man, maybe he can give me a job. That'd be nice.
Anyway, you were born.
In 1983.
Okay, so 34 or 35.
35 this year.
Yes.
I started karting in 1993 and won multiple national champions over 8 years. I don't know what the national means. It might mean world champions. It might,
Well, it might mean national championships.
It might
like
mean champion of that country.
No, but it might mean he's won the world karting championship as well. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm just saying, maybe not to trust the question as it's been written, but play it where it stands, lads. Play it where it stands. And
So
lady.
1983,
And then started karting.
1993. That's
10.
kind of
A
late.
little bit.
A little bit late. 10 years old.
Yeah, he was able to climb into his cart and not to be lowered in by his parents to make sure the nappy fit in the seat.
Yeah.
In 2003, I raced the British Formula 3 Championship.
Okay. Looking somebody like perhaps a year older than me and a bit younger than you, Lee.
Year younger than me. Yeah.
And a year older than me.
Yeah.
So we're thinking someone
No
like
comment.
someone like Oliver Gavin.
That's about the right age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said 1983, not 1893.
Oliver Gavin's not that old.
When I was a lad.
Should we go with Oliver Gavin as the first guess?
I reckon that's a...
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Who's Oliver Gavin?
He's a McLaren sort of was test driver.
drove the safety car before Burnt Mylander.
Is
and
he
he was in Daytona last week.
Is he the one of the ones that have quietly gone through McLaren's meat grinder?
Yeah.
A little bit like Gary Paffett. Could be Gary Paffett.
And who's the ginger lad?
That was him.
Oliver Turvey.
Oh, Oliver Turvey, sorry, yeah.
I haven't got my glasses on. I wish I had my glasses.
Professionalism.
I have a championship in both European and German Formula Renault 2000.
Which is the one below Formula Renault 3.5.
Okay.
Which is ridiculous because 3.5 is well lower than 2000.
It went metric. I've heard that Pulp song, Disco 3.5. It was the follow-up.
Let's all meet up in the year 3.5. Won't it be strange when we're all decimalised? Sorry.
Give it a year and we'll be rounded up to 4. What am I doing?
Question 5, I think.
Question 5. The first Formula One event I participated in was the 2005 Canadian Grand Prix.
2005 Canadian Grand Prix.
Would he have been the safety car driver then? Possibly.
Before Burt Mylander. Burt Mylander's been doing it about 10 years, hasn't he?
Yeah, which would make 2008 when he started.
Burt Mylander was doing it as a safety horse.
So 2005, you would only been 22.
That feels young.
It does for a safety car driver, doesn't it? Yeah, a little bit. Usually a safety car driver is someone who's retired.
Yeah, it's someone out the other end, usually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still leaning towards Oliver Gavin. Can we have the next clue, please?
Yeah.
I raced in Formula One over 2 seasons and scored points.
Not Oliver Gavin.
No, it's not Oliver Gavin.
Just trying to think back to Canada 2005.
I think it's someone like Justin Wilson, maybe.
That's a possibility.
Did Justin Wilson race?
We drove a Minardi.
Did he
And
really?
Did you drive in Jaguar as well?
Yeah, I think so.
So that would be the 2 seasons.
Hmm.
I don't know how old Justin Wilson was. I think he was a
would
bit
have put
older.
him a little bit older than that, not
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I think he was a fair bit older. Might be wrong though.
I have entered the Indy 500.
Right. Okay.
That was one thing Justin Wilson did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So should we give Justin Wilson as a second guess then?
I think so,
yeah.
yeah.
After open wheeled racing, I've raced in NASCAR.
Justin Wilson did cars. Did he do NASCAR or did he just do normal
I think
I
cars?
don't remember him doing NASCAR.
I want to guess as well, don't I?
We've given you
We
2
said,
guesses.
we said Justin Wilson was the second
Oh,
guess.
you want that? Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Can't remember him doing NASCAR.
Okay.
In my off time, I own and operate an RC car company.
Like Flavio Briatore.
Only smaller.
No, an RC car company is when you ring up and say, I want a car, and they go, no.
RC as in radio controlled. or-
That was what I was assuming. But
yeah.
Like a car, bet you do, dickhead. Bye.
Brilliant.
I got nothing on this.
No, I haven't.
what about Nelson Piquet Jr.?
And I see he's about the right age.
He's about the right age. He's definitely done NASCAR.
How long was he in Formula One for?
It was about 2 years.
A year and
It
a
was
half.
later. It was later
A
than
year
the
and a bit.
Canadian. It was later than Canada 2005, but you didn't say raced
So
in
he
Canada.
could
Just
have-
participated.
could have been a
so
Friday
he could have been
driver.
just hanging around.
Because wasn't 2005 round about the era of 3-Car Friday?
I think it was actually, yeah.
That sounds like a drinks promotion.
If you drink 2 cars, we'll give you the third absolutely free.
I have raced in Global Rallycross. Okay, sorry, this won't help. Collecting 15 wins and 3 championships.
Like Petter Solberg.
Who is older?
Who is older and has more elephants on his race suit?
And didn't do Formula One.
No.
No.
Give me a guess.
Is
That
that
was
the
your
end?
10th question.
Oh.
I have a Spaffer question, but you can't have that until you have your final answer locked in.
PK Jr., I think, is a good call.
I
Yeah.
have no advance on that.
I would go with what Sean said.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
We haven't locked it in yet, but
You're going to kick yourself fast.
could be Oliver Gavin or Oliver Turvey.
He's never raced in F1. Oliver Gavin's never raced in F1.
Oh, I don't know.
Justin Wilson did.
You especially are going to kick yourself.
It's something I've said, isn't it?
Fucking weekly.
Ralph Furman.
Oh, we've already had AJ Foyt.
Hit me then. Give me a driver.
Oh God, hang on.
And then I'll give you the Spaffer question, and then you can be upset.
I'm going to let Paul do it.
Oh, no pressure on me whatsoever.
Well, basically, we can make sure because your other two answers are wrong.
So it's Justin Wilson then.
What? No, your answers are wrong. I need a new answer.
Oh, right, okay.
I wouldn't be pushing so much for you to not take the other wrong answer if the other one was right.
Oh, good lord.
So
the countdown theme.
not Nelson Piquet Jr.
No.
It's not Justin Wilson. It is Justin Wilson. Okay.
Come on.
I don't know.
Neither do I. This is
No,
fun.
I don't.
No, it's normally me that plays that music when people take too long in the pub quiz to give me an answer.
Come on. There's people screaming.
I know there is, and I'm working on a lack of sleep here. I didn't get to bed until
Oh, good lord.
3:30 this
Try
morning.
being a wrestling fan. Carry on.
You've lost me completely. So it's someone that I say a lot, but it isn't AJ Foyt.
I'm just going to say Oliver Turvey.
You're getting this wrong rapidly.
Yeah, well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Like really fast, really rapidly you're getting this
Oh
wrong.
crap! Are you banned from iRacing?
I might be.
Are you Scott? I have no speed whatsoever.
I am, and the Spaffer clue was I've also been run through the Toro Rosso meat grinder.
That could also be anyone.
Yeah. Good old Scott Speed banned from iRacing for causing crashes.
For
Really?
deliberately taking somebody out.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah. So got booted out of Toro Rosso for punching his race engineer,
Yep.
I do believe.
Well, I don't think he got booted out of Toro Rosso for that. I think he was.
I don't think that helped his cause,
No.
though, did it?
Sean makes a fine point.
Yeah, I think there was some kind of fight when he was in NASCAR, but then again, that's
standard.
That's your initiation process. And has now had a ban from iRacing for taking people out after he claimed that they hit him.
I actually thought Scott Speed was a lot older than 35 this year.
Don't forget, there was also people that thought Scott Speed was a lot more talented.
It's a deceptive surname, that's the problem.
Kiss.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kicking myself I didn't get that one sooner.
I was pretty surprised because I'm not going to lie, I made a couple of questions harder because I thought you were just going to get it dead easy as I went through.
Yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game.
That was good.
That was a good one. That was Nick.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for that one, Nick.
Thank you very much.
Good
for that.
effort.
If you want to send in a total shunt for Lee to do on the show, then the best way to do it is send it in a Twitter direct message to...
At a total shunt.
And
let's not say the best way. That's the only way.
That's true, 'cause if you send it in any other way, then all of us will be able to read it, and that's kind of cheating.
Yeah, which is a shame if you're not on Twitter, but just sign up just so you can send Lee in.
People have done that. People have started Twitter accounts just to send me.
Which is amazing.
Send you
Which is
abuse.
Yeah, and occasionally a willy pick.
2 Jacks in one night?
Yep.
Okay. Second one, 59 minutes. I'm making notes here. I'm trying to be professional now that we've got to do a mixtape and everything. Formula Lee.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. General consensus this week is bloody hell.
And also, I have noticed a drop off in competitors this week.
I think it's possibly something to do with the conditions.
And the
Well,
car.
they should
And
be
the
on
car.
for the helmet.
Well, this is the thing. We're trying to
Yeah.
give people the best chance of winning the Nico Rosberg replica helmet.
Which, if you want to win, all you need to do is take part in Formula Lee and score points at any time during the season.
And you too could take Nico's helmet.
Okay.
I'm not following that one. You can if you want. Yeah, it's the Nico Rosberg 2016 helmet supplied to us by CM Helmets in the US.
Absolutely.
Just want to thank them massively for doing that. If you go to cmhelmets.com, you'll see they've got a great range there.
If they could also check up on the delivery of my Damon Hill helmet, that would be great, because the one they've sent to me has clearly got lost in the post. So if they could send me...
That's the 1996 replica Damon Hill championship winning
and
year
I'm not
helmet.
saying that after this championship's done, that I might accidentally say CM helmets a lot over the course of the Formula One season. But if they happen to do that, I would probably, it might slip out a few times. I can be quite easily
Would you
tricked.
stand in front of a car with a board saying CM helmets on
because
it?
I can't be a grid boy.
This is true.
I'm too old now. But
He's
yeah.
also Beardy and Ginger. That'd make him Grid Sheeran.
I'll tell you what, they're very good. I'll tell you what, if you get young Arthur on the Young Drivers program, British Grand Prix, apply, Paddock Pass for Lee.
He's a bit fucking tall, though. I was hoping for a Formula One driver.
Is he Nico Hulkenberging
Well,
it?
he's like 6 months now.
I thought you were going to say he's about 6 foot tall.
Well, almost. He's 6 months old. 6 month old now. Yeah, and he's filling 9 to 12-month clothes.
Yes, I remember the mad raking through baby outfits in Gatwick Airport when we were coming back because you were trying to find him a souvenir one.
Yeah.
And I saw all these not...
And they didn't have one with a 44 waist.
So not to 6 months.
34
it's
inside
Like,
leg.
these aren't any good. But on to this week's Formula Lee. It is Singapore. It's wet and it's the 95 Ferrari 412 T2.
Was that Mansell's Ferrari?
95? No, it was
Oh,
John
no, it was
Alesi and Gerhard
95,
Berger.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Why
the
is that in the classic cars?
because it was the first Ferrari to win a race in some years.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Lacey won the Canadian Grand Prix in '95. His only race win. Oh,
Yeah.
was it '95?
Yeah, I think yeah.
Do you know what? I wouldn't have even
Was he?
known
Hang
he
on,
won a
have I
race.
got that right? I need to Google myself. I'm double doubting myself here.
Not a double D.
Double D.
Um,
Double doubting myself.
I wouldn't have even known Alesi won a race.
That's how good the car was. Jean Alesi's first
Anyone
win
else would have won a
and last win,
championship.
1995 Canadian Grand Prix.
Yep, in that car.
So yeah, it was memorable because I think first Ferrari win
Since Mansell.
since Mansell.
Well, 5 years before, I think.
And that was Schumacher went to Ferrari the year after. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
96, and then that's when Ferrari started being back on the up. So the 95 car's in there because of basically it was the first Ferrari car to win a race in some years because they did that
Did Schumacher win a race?
in his first year.
In his
Yeah, he
first
won
year.
Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or maybe it's
the
in there
wet.
because it was cheap to license if it wasn't
That's
a proper classic.
Another point.
That's well done, Sean.
Yeah.
That's probably quite true.
So F1 2018, we're going to get the 1994 Pacific.
Yeah.
Oh, I would play that on a game.
I'm still amazed that we haven't had the Brawn
2009 Brawn.
because they've already got the model for it.
Like, what alternative classics are missing from the game that's out at the moment?
Well, Brawn, obviously. I'd say a Hesketh.
70s Hesketh. They haven't
Yeah.
gone back far enough, really, have they?
No.
The Lotus were on
JPS.
the JPS Lotus was on the 2013 game, I think, but very difficult to control. And also, you got those on the Project Cars game as well, didn't you? 98T turbo and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Halfway through a championship with a minute on Forza and a JPS. It's fucking ace.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would I like to see on there?
The FW11 Williams, perhaps the 87 Williams, 86, 87.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Possibly the 6-wheel Tyrrell.
Yeah,
That would
shout.
be interesting. Although they probably have to redesign the game physics for that completely with the four front wheels.
How about the
Bitten and Hiss is Jordan.
yeah
as well.
that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Jackie Stewart's last Tyrrell, the 73 Tyrrell, that would be a good one.
In fact, take out that one and stick in Damon's where he won in Spa for Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
99 Jordan. Yeah, that's a possibility. So there are some classic like mid-grid cars as well, aren't there? That sort of that get kind of forgotten about.
Stewart.
Stuart would
Stuart,
be a
yeah.
great choice. Yeah.
The night was it the night? It was either the 96 or 97 Sauber.
The one that looked like the Red Bull does now.
Yeah,
Red Bull with Patronus on it as
yeah,
well.
something like that. Because when Sauber first started to get noticed,
Yeah.
something like that would be. Would
Was
be
that
excellent.
Johnny Herbert Sauber?
Frentzen.
Fredson.
Yeah,
Frentzen and Jean-Christophe Bouillon, I think, were
I
driving
think it
then.
might well have been.
John Christoph Beef Stock.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway, yes. So for Formula E this week, as we say, it's the 95 Ferrari. Some choice there. In the wet in Singapore. You need to get your times into us by 7 o'clock in the UK, 2 o'clock US Eastern Time on the 12th. At the moment, we've had 14 entries so far, so everyone's in the points. Fastest times around about.
That's what I mean. We've got a lack of competitors for this one.
A lot of people send the times in late.
Yeah,
so
but if you want that helmet and you're thinking, "Oh, I'll never score points on this one,"
you're in with a shout.
if
You
only
are in with a
19
shout.
people enter, you've got points and you're in the draw.
Yeah, at the moment it's 214.6.
Has anyone
is the slowest
abused you on social media yet?
Well, that's me, isn't it?
time. No, you're 212.5.
Oh, there you go then.
Has anyone abused me on social media? No. They're all blaming you. They know it's you.
Well, remember, you need to abuse Paul if you want a dry race and a good car next time.
Otherwise, you'll end up with a worse car somehow. Don't know if that's possible.
Yeah.
In the wet, somewhere else that's horrible.
Abu Dhabi in the wet would be a shit race, wouldn't it? Think of that.
God.
I don't know.
But the question is, how do you get the times to us? See what I did there?
Yes.
You can email them on 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, or you can send them...
Subject line Formula Lee.
Yes, please, because it makes it easy to find.
Yes.
Have we had Monaco yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Last
Have
race
we?
was in Monaco.
Did get a suggestion for using some of the short circuits.
I'll have a look at the short circuits. Actually, we use a short circuit next time.
Right.
Yeah.
In the dry.
I haven't seen. Yeah, probably in the dry.
Thank God for that.
Probably in a good car as well.
Thank God for that. But yeah, email it to us on 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, or you can tweet it to @3legs4wheels in a private message, or you can get hold of us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/3legs4wheels, and send the screenshot to us in a private message on that. Of course, you can get in touch with us on Twitter @3legs4wheels, or
At Flood21.
At Sean Cowper.
At a total shunt.
and @Pablo100.
And don't forget, Dan is at Danbut.
That is true. There is an underscore either side of Dan, but he's actually been saying his Twitter name wrong all this time.
At underscore
Danbert
Danbut underscore.
He's only been doing that for 18 months.
Amazing.
That's how often Dan uses Twitter.
The actual at Danbert is probably getting loads of messages and wondering what the hell is all this.
Dan, you're amazing on the podcast. I don't know who this is.
I'm just going to have to look up.
If there is someone who is at Danbert.
While Paul does that, I'm going to do another shameless plug to tell you to go and listen to Must See Audio, which is my other podcast.
What did you discuss this week?
We haven't done one this week. We're going to do one.
What did you discuss this episode?
The
The one that you've just talking about now.
No, this is the last one. I've already. This is.
So you're telling us to go and listen to it, but it's not there yet.
Oh no. There's going to be another episode recorded this week. The last episode isn't too bad for Formula One fans because we talked about my McLaren trip a little bit.
Ah, very good.
I've just found at Danbert on Twitter, who has never tweeted, has one follower, and is following one person.
Amazing.
Is the follower the same person as is the
Possibly.
same that he's
No.
following?
That's
No.
not a real person. Yeah, Must See Audio, my other podcast. Go and listen to
Yeah,
it.
it would appear that the other Danbert lives in Venezuela as well.
Oh dear.
Oh, it could be Maldonado.
It could be. Danbut Maldonado.
That's not going to confuse him much. Not talked about the Patreon show yet, have we?
Get on it.
Yeah. We do an extra show every week to raise funds to keep us in things like hardware, hosting costs.
Yeah.
And
It costs a lot to keep this pod running, basically.
Basically, it does because we've got podcasts that keep chewing microphone cables.
Well, no, I was thinking more to do with the hosting side of things. That's not cheap, and then we've
And
got
these little excursions that we've made, and we might be making more of as well. It's realistically, this is what's helping us do cool things like go and speak to Lando Norris.
Yeah, absolutely. So it helps us with content for the podcast. If you enjoyed that Lando Norris interview that we did a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, you want to hear more stuff like that of us going to places and talking to people, then head
Actual
over
real
to
Formula One places and peoples.
exactly.
Yeah. So if you go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels, you can sign up there. It's as little as $1 a month. You can donate however much you want above that amount if you want to. Just want to thank all our new patrons that have joined us this week.
Yeah, we had a couple after Daytona, didn't we?
We did, yes.
So thank you very much for that. We do appreciate all of your love
And I will admit that
in the form of money.
I will admit that some of the Patreon money went to buying strong coffee to keep me going through the Daytona blog.
It's fine. The other thing to think about is if you can only do $1, don't think about it as like, oh, it's only $1. It doesn't matter, because like the amount of listeners we hit, if everybody that listens to our podcast donated $1, then we could do some amazing things.
That is
with this
true.
Podcast.
That is
Absolutely.
true.
And it's $1 a month. For that, you get at least 4 shows.
Yeah.
So 2 hours of extra
two
content
hours of extra content.
for $1.
Yeah.
A month.
And about an hour of it's listenable.
Yeah, and if
And again, don't listen at work.
And we haven't said this before, but if you're a Patreon and you ever meet me, I will give you a cuddle and a kiss on the cheek. Should you want this?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? And we haven't done this for a few weeks, and we just ask a favour. If you are on iTunes, if you can leave us a review, a nice one, please.
Leave an honest review if you
Leave
want.
leave an honest review, even if it's not nice.
Yeah.
But we know our listeners are nice.
And come over to Facebook as well and give our page a like.
Yeah.
You can
Just
unfollow
do
us
it
straight
for
away.
our
if you want.
iTunes position's sake.
Indeed. We'll be back next week with whatever happens between now and then. Just to warn you, we may be a day late next week.
Yeah, some scheduling issues cropping up. We're still trying to work out a way around them, but we might be on time.
Yeah.
We may be on time, we may be late, we may have a big show, we may have a normal show.
Yes.
How about that for vague? So, but one thing is certain, we will be back next week.
Absolutely.
We'll see you later.
Thanks very much. Bye.